Okay, so there were technically three opportunities for a trade today. Realistically, only two though that I would have entertained, and I'll kind of go over why. I didn't end up taking a trade today. I'll be honest. It's just been so long since I've actually taken a live trade at this point because of the holidays, and then I just literally uh, since I got back to actually like live trading on the 15th of January, or it was like the 12th of January. There really hasn't been too many setups. So because of that, I've been extremely like picky with the setups that I would take, and so I think I have to snap out of that a little bit. Prepare myself for potential loss. You know, it's part of the game. If it happens, it happens. But I don't. I think right now I might just be a little bit too fearful of a loss because I haven't traded in a while, so I just don't want the first trade to be a loss. But realistically, if I see my setup, I got to take it. Um, Also, these two here, this one um, was a very, very late into the AM session. Essentially, noon would have been my entry almost, like 10 minutes before noon. So that I probably wouldn't have taken. I know I wouldn't have taken. This I would not have taken because the target just didn't make sense for me because these were not equal highs. This actually swept this high. If these were equal highs, I would have taken this. This I just missed because I'm not staring at the chart all day. But realistically, I should set alerts, and I should be looking at it a bit more than I was because this is a nice setup. So I'll go over the one that I just missed, which is this last one here. Obviously, we're in an uptrend, right? Bias is bullish currently. Um, we didn't actually break structure with this candle, so technically structure is still bullish on the daily. You go to the 4 hour bullish structure after this candle formed right here. Then you see we dipped into this hourly order block here, or hourly fair value gap here with this candle. And so that's our higher time frame PD array. We got a sweep of liquidity, also tapping into a 15-minute fair value gap. And then we got an entry here. You see we tapped into that fair value gap here after distributing higher and breaking structure. The only thing that wasn't great about this trade was the fact that the draw on liquidity, what I was targeting was just a high and nothing else. There wasn't equal highs or anything. It was just a previous high, which is fine, but it's not like it's not an A plus setup just because of that. But everything else, obviously in hindsight, this is an amazing trade. Like there's literally zero drawdown. So this is just a trade I missed. Again, this one, virtually the same thing. The only difference about this one is we didn't tap into a higher time frame fair value gap, like as far as like the hourly goes or the 4 hour. We tapped into a 15-minute fair value gap sweeping liquidity. This one did have equal highs though to target, which was a positive that this one didn't have. So, again, looking through this and talking it over, I'm finding that I'm looking for like the A plus of setups. Like the A plus plus, you have everything. You have equal highs above. You have, we tap into a 4 hour or an hourly fair value gap. We sweep liquidity nicely, distribute nicely. Like I'm looking for, but you can see like these aren't A plus setups technically. These are like, this one because we weren't tapping into a higher time frame or fair value gap or PD array, and it was later in the AM session. This was like more like a B plus. This because the target wasn't equal highs or anything. Like the draw on liquidity wasn't the greatest. This was probably like an A minus, B plus. But that's like okay, like you're gonna like, obviously like these setups still work. So I have to obviously not take everything that I see on the chart because then you're just gambling. I want to make sure I play my probabilities right and only execute when my setup is there, which technically these are all, well, these two, my setup was there. There might be one or two things missing from like my checklist, and that's okay. Like, there's gonna be some trades where everything on the checklist is hit, and I take it and I still lose, right? And there's gonna be trades where majority of the checklist is hit. Like, we have a higher time frame PD array, we have a sweep on liquidity, we have distribution, and we have a nice entry, we break a structure, but like the drawn liquidity isn't the greatest, right? And that might hit, that might actually make us money, like this one right here. So just in hindsight, right, don't have to take only A+ setups. It's good to sit on your hands, but there's also, it can be a fault, and it is a fault of mine. I sit on my hands too much, and I'm almost fearful to take a loss. So I got to work on that. Definitely one good setup I could have taken here today. That would have been following my rules. This one technically following my rules too. It's just very late in the afternoon session, and this one I would not have. This one was tough for me to take because genuinely, like, this had swept this high, so we didn't have equal highs technically, and I just didn't know what the trend on the day was going to be yet. So this one is tough for me, but these two for sure could have taken in hindsight. So just something to think about. But I wanted to just document the trades, and because again, I'm struggling to find trades and execute in live time. So every time I miss one, which I missed two here, I want to make sure that I document them, and so I can go back and see, oh, okay, so my setup is actually forming pretty consistently. It's just I'm not taking the setups. And so this is another case of that. But again, like, the reason I haven't made a video of the like this every single day is because, well, my setup doesn't happen every single day. So there are days when, I'm right to sit in my hands. But every time I make a video like this, it means that I missed a setup that I and the reason I missed a setup is because I'm, either thinking that price action is going to be bad, I wasn't at the charts, or something along those lines. So, or I'm waiting for that perfect setup. So